Hello and thanks for joining me, hopefully again, on If My Editing Has Gone Right, the second part of my journey across Tibet and up to Everest Base Camp. This is the second part of my video, so if you haven't seen the first part, recommend you watch that first. Just to recap, I'm travelling here with two friends, Andy from England, Martin from Portugal, and we're on a tour with Ride Nepal. We're with the guys Uday and Takeshi from Ride Nepal, and we have two Tibetan guides with us, well, a Tibetan guide and a driver. So we have a truck carrying all of our stuff, the driver and the Tibetan guide, or government appointed minder, however you want to look at it. We started this journey in Kathmandu. We rode up into the mountains, up to the Tibetan border, where we crossed over into Tibet, and then we've gone over our first really high mountain pass, the first of many mountain passes. It's actually higher than Everest Base Camp, was the top of that pass. We dropped down and we're now on this huge Tibetan plain where we are travelling east. Ultimately we're heading towards Lhasa, the capital of Tibet, but we're taking a few days to get there and doing quite a bit of sightseeing along the way. So I hope you will join me for this adventure, because we are having an absolutely fantastic time. We just stopped for a little leg stretch here and have a look around, take a few photographs. Just feels so isolated and quiet here. We're not out of civilization, not by any means, but this is actually a very, very long distance. I think this is our longest distance between fuel stops, is this stage. We are having great fun on these little Honda 250s. We're riding Honda CRF 250Ls. For Andy and Martin, it's the first time they've ridden these bikes and they're having such fun. This is a long straight plateau and they keep having races on the bikes to see how fast they can go. But as you can imagine, on a little 250 at really high altitude, top speed's not exactly very high, but it's very entertaining watching them. I don't know where our Tibetan guide is. I think we've left him way behind because we're cracking along up here, but with Andy and Martin sort of racing, I think we're burning through the fuel because my bike's gone onto reserve and I think we've still got a long way to go. Now our Tibetan guide did assure us that we'd be able to get to the next fuel station okay, but I'm not sure if he was factoring in the high-speed antics that Martin and Andy were engaging in. So I'm just fingers crossed that we're going to get to the next fuel station without running out of fuel. We've come into some civilization here, but there's no sign of a petrol station. He did tell us where it is, and it's quite a bit further on. Oh, there's a dog in the road here. Be careful. Well, hopefully not much further to go now, because my bike is definitely running on the smell of petrol now. I've been on reserve for ages. Well, here we are. Of course, we all made it without running out of fuel. Of course we did. But I did have a bit of fuel range anxiety. Right, brace yourself, because I just want to show you inside this public toilet at this filling station. Looks quite nice from the outside, but when we go inside, and believe me, this is one of the cleaner ones I've found, what we've got is just these three rather shit splattered holes in the ground. They are long drop toilets and it's a long way down there. There's no toilet paper, there's no water, there's no facilities for washing your hands. As I say, this is one of the cleaner ones. Most of them people seem to have used the corner of the room or been unable to hit the target at all. If you were suffering from diarrhea, I'm sure these toilets would be an instant cure. really enjoyed this afternoon's ride. Well, I've enjoyed the whole day's ride, but it's been a very relaxing afternoon just travelling across that long plain. But here we are, this town coming up now is where we're staying tonight, so we just need to find our hotel and get ourselves sorted for the evening. We've arrived in Tingri. This is our hotel. The bike's parked in front. And we have views of Everest over there. You can see. I'll zoom in with my other camera in a minute, but just do a pan shot at the moment with this. So it's very warm, very bright here. It's lovely. Just having a look around. Old Tingri, because there's a new Tingri as well. We've got some piped patriotic music here as well somewhere. Gonna get my other camera out with the zoom lens, take some pictures with that. Good morning. It's just broken daylight. Last night was our highest sleep so far on the trip, about 4,300 meters. Bit of difficulty sleeping last night, but did get off to sleep eventually. Bit of a headache, mild headache, but look at that for a morning view. Isn't that wonderful? So we're heading off towards Shigatse today, and we've got 3 more passes to cross today. One's quite a small one, one's a big one, about 5,230 meters, quite a big pass, that one, and then one that's 4,000 and some, and then we drop down to, I can't remember what altitude Shigatse is at. I'll look it up in a minute before we leave. 3,000 some meters, which after you've been doing these heady 5,000 some doesn't feel that much, but you've got to remind yourself that's still pretty high. Quick shot of our, well, it's okay, isn't it? Our bedroom. Not too shabby. It's very nice actually, considering where we are, right in the remoteness. I thought it's been a nice hotel room, is this? Right, we're off again. Early morning start, riding east into the rising sun. Really beautiful, really beautiful. So let's see what today has in store for us then. It's really easy riding is this, and you can see the roads are really quiet, the road conditions are good. I think as we get further east we're going to get onto busier roads, more traffic, but just at the moment we've just got the roads to ourselves. So you're just trundling along and enjoying the scenery. This is fantastic. We're still riding into the rising sun, but the sun's gradually getting higher and higher in the sky. The day's opening up. What a beautiful way to start the day. We are coming up to another checkpoint here, and I'm not usually able to film the checkpoints because they really don't like you filming at all. But this one doesn't seem to be occupied, if I put it that way. I'll just say a word about these. They're all over. We just keep coming up to these checkpoints. Apparently they are to control the movement of the local people. I was speaking to some of the staff in the hotel that we stayed at, and they said that they are not allowed to move past the next checkpoint. A lot of control of the Tibetan population here by the Chinese government. Another fuel stop, and this strange ritual that we have to go through. They don't like us riding the bikes in. Unless our guide is here, they don't want us bringing the bikes in at all. We've got to switch the engines off, push them in, move them away from the pump immediately after we fueled up. That's okay, we're getting used to the routine, I guess.
No, we put our own. Yeah. No, never.
Never.
Before, when there were people putting it, it's always old guys.
Old guys.
The day has really opened up now. This is a beautiful clear day, as you can see from the clouds here. It's gorgeous weather, so as we're riding along, I thought I might just share a bit of information with you if you're considering doing a trip like this and you've got no experience of doing something like this before. So I'll just see if I can give you, as we're riding along, as I think of them, I'll give you a few tips, ideas, things that are important for doing a trip like this. So I'll start off by talking about clothing. Clothing that you wear for motorcycle touring, I feel, is a very personal choice, and you probably noticed from the video footage that we're wearing different things, but I'll tell you what I wear and why I choose my clothing. I prefer to go for layering my clothing rather than wearing a big heavy jacket. I'll wear a big Gore-Tex jacket if I'm at home just for a couple of days away, but the problem is with a trip like this, you're in extreme heat in Nepal and then extreme cold up at the high altitude in the Tibetan plateau and some of the mountain passes. So the most important thing is wearing something that is flexible, that will keep you cool when it's hot but keep you warm when it's very cold. So when it comes to clothing, I prefer a layering system. I layer up and then I can add and remove layers as necessary. And I sort of go for a same kind of idea if you are hiking, climbing, which, you know, that's where I get my clothing ideas from. So I wear a base layer, a mid layer, a top layer, and then I've got my waterproofs over the top of that. So I've basically got 4 layers that I can mix and match. I am wearing a Climb Marrakesh jacket, and I've got the pants as well, and I think Andy's wearing the same. He's a slightly different model, but we're both into the Climb Marrakesh stuff because it's breathable, it's tough, it's great. Underneath that I wear merino wool base layer, long sleeve top and long johns, and then I've got a down puffer jacket. That's proper duck down, not synthetic, which keeps me very warm. If it gets very cold, I put that on. I also use a Pertex wind blocker sometimes if I don't need the warmth of the down jacket. And that's an extra layer underneath my jacket. You will also see that I wear my waterproofs a lot. So I treat my waterproofs as an outer windproof layer. Very important part of my kit, because my Marrakesh jacket, my Climb Marrakesh jacket, is actually breathable. You know, it air flows through it. So if you want to block that airflow, it's important you put your waterproofs over the top. So you'll see me riding in my waterproofs a lot. Doesn't mean it's wet, I'm just wearing them there just to stay comfortable as an extra layer to block the wind out. I also have 2 pairs of gloves with me. I've got a pair of very lightweight gloves when it's hot, and then I've got some thick, well insulated gloves that I'm wearing when it's cold. So we're coming up to the summit of the We've passed here. This has been quite a gentle but steady ride up here, but we're going to pull in, have a look around here, have a little break. Another high pass, over 5,200 meters again. I think this one's 5,230 meters, but pretty high. Oh, we're having a group photograph. Little Honda's doing okay. Got me up that pass. No problem. Just keep the engine buzzing. It seems happy enough. Martin here is going in search of the public toilets, but I think I will forego that pleasure. Just having a little explore around here. Oh. It is pretty cold up here, but I can see a day over there in the orange trousers is very well lagged. I think he feels the cold coming from Kathmandu, where it's very warm. I think my body's getting used to this high altitude. Yeah, I'm a bit breathless, but other than that, it's okay. As long as you don't try and rush around too fast, it's fine. But we're going to drop down a little bit now, down to the next town. I think we're losing probably at least 1,000 meters. So let's get kitted up and get on again. We are descending now. Nice steady downhill is this. My little Honda is enjoying this. It's having a little bit of a breather after hauling me up the other side. Well, that was a lovely ride down the pass. Long descent, lovely. And so we're stopped here now for some lunch, this little town, and this Tibetan restaurant.
Those are the best, aren't they? My worst face is the one that I'm like. I'm always like, no, big smile.
This is a lovely restaurant. So a quick pan round. Just love the decoration, furniture. They have everything's beautifully ornate, isn't it? I guess we'd say a bit like Auntie's sitting room.
Nice toilet or it's not nice toilet?
Not very clean. Not clean. I give them one of the island from Scotland to the mainland and take it away.
Well, that was a lovely restaurant, beautiful food, really enjoyed that lunch, but I'll just share with you an interesting experience I had after lunch. There was a public toilet over the road, so I thought I'd pop over the road and use the facilities, and oh my god, it was so bad inside that most people had gone round the back. So you imagine what that was like, because we're not talking about popping around the back for a quick pee. Yeah, it was absolutely horrendous. Thankfully, I didn't take my camera with me. Another fuel stop. Much of a muchness of these fuel stations, all the same. We are on bigger and busier roads now as we head east, and we get nearer to the larger towns and cities, there's a lot more traffic on the roads now, much more traffic. We're heading up another pass now, another mountain pass. This is not as high as the last couple that we did, but as you can see, there's a lot more traffic on the roads here. There's some pretty interesting overtaking manoeuvres. A lot of big powerful cars here squeezing past the trucks, and you've got to keep your wits about you, because the road sense is, how we put it, rather different. This is quite a big town we're coming into here, and there's a lot of fuel tankers around here, a lot of petrol tankers. I don't know if there's maybe a fuel depot or something around here. Yeah, much bigger towns we're coming to, and you can tell the Chinese influence on these. It looks like a fairly recently built Chinese town does this. Uday was telling me earlier that he and Takeshi last came over here about 5-6 years ago, and a lot of these towns weren't there when they came over before, so they're newly built. There's these new towns springing up everywhere. We just stopped for a little bum break and got a Nescafe coffee drink here. The road, we're on the main road at the moment, and the roads are starting to get a lot busier, and yeah, the standard of driving is, the problem is, I think that the road surface is pretty good and they've all got decent cars, and so they're driving way too fast and way too aggressively. A lot of the car drivers trying to dodge around trucks on blind bends and things, so you've just got to watch yourself. I've had twice I've been run off the road by a car overtaken in the opposite direction to me, so got to keep your wits about you. But it's still beautiful scenery, lovely place. Just pan the camera around. The day has warmed up nicely, so just stripped my waterproofs off now. Bit warmer. I have wanted to come to Tibet for many years, so this is a dream come true for me. When I was quite young, I can't remember exactly what age, but I read Heinrich Herrier's book 7 Years in Tibet. My father had a copy and I read it, and I was just intrigued about this country on the roof of the world, and I wanted to come here. And then of course there's been a film made of that book starring Brad Pitt. It's a very good book, and it's about a German mountaineer and explorer who at the outbreak of the Second World War was imprisoned, but he was in India climbing in the Himalayas, was imprisoned by the British as a hostile alien. He escaped over the Himalayas and found his way to Tibet and to Lhasa, where he made friends with the Dalai Lama, the current Dalai Lama, who at the time was quite a young boy. It's a fantastic story if you're not aware of it, and ever since I read it I've wanted to come here. So the fact that we're going to Lhasa, we're going to go and visit the Dalai Lama's palace, it's a dream come true for me. I've mentioned the Chinese government a few times whilst I'm here, so I'm just going to say a word or two about the history of Tibet, and particularly relationship with China. It goes back a long way. It's very interesting. Tibet was invaded and conquered by the Mongols in the 13th century, and since then there have been periods of Chinese administration, Chinese rule, but and then independence. But it's been a sort of very much a light touch, and Tibet has kind of largely for sort of 400 years or so ruled itself Whoa, another dodgy overtake here. Got this one on camera. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier, being run off the road by people overtaking trucks. In 1912, after the fall of the Chinese Qing dynasty, the 13th Dalai Lama declared Tibetan independence and expelled the Chinese from Tibet, and that state of affairs continued up until 1950. But in 1950, following the newly established People's Republic of China, the Chinese invaded Tibet again, or the People's Liberation Army of China invaded Tibet, although they called it a peaceful liberation rather than invasion. And they said they were liberating Tibet from the feudal system, which it was governed under the monastic system, the Dalai Lama. At the time, the current Dalai Lama, who was the 14th Dalai Lama, was quite a young man. And in 1951, he and the Tibetan government were forced to sign an agreement with the Chinese government, basically saying that China now ran Tibet. That continued up until 1959. Throughout the 1950s, the Chinese government had implemented a lot of radical social reforms which were very unpopular with the Tibetan people, and in 1959 there was an uprising in Lhasa, and it was brutally suppressed by the Chinese. There were thousands of people killed. Up until that point, a lot of government officials had fled Tibet, but the Dalai Lama had insisted on staying. But in 1959 he saw that he was going to have to go, and so he fled to India, where he has lived ever since in exile in India. A lot of the famous Tibetan monasteries were destroyed and the monks killed, and particularly during the Cultural Revolution in China in the late 1960s, nearly all of Tibet's monasteries were destroyed. But later, in the late 1980s, there was a bit of a change around. Things softened up a little bit in China. Relations with particularly with the monastic community in Tibet improved, and a lot of the monasteries have been restored now. We have been visiting some monasteries, and I intend to visit quite a few when we arrive in Lhasa. And I understand that the current state of these monasteries, which is excellent, they're beautiful monasteries, but it dates back only to about the late 1980s, early 1990s, because much of what was in existence before then was destroyed.
Not sleeping really messes with one's system.
Yeah, Andy and I have been lucky in that neither of us have really suffered badly with altitude sickness. Here we are then, we're just looking for the hotel. That's another day's riding done. Looking forward to getting out the riding gear, and we're going to go and explore a big local monastery this evening. It's early morning and we're off again. We've got quite a long ride today. We're riding all the way to Lhasa today. As you can probably see, it's a bit duller, cloudy this morning. I don't know if it'll burn off later, but a bit of a cooler, duller morning. It's not cold, just cool. Fantastic time last night, particularly visiting the monastery. Didn't get a lot of video footage. You're not allowed to film inside the monastery, so it was difficult getting any footage, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I had a really weird experience. They have some sort of I don't know, like shrine rooms there, and I walked into one of them and I had this immediate feeling of deja vu, like I had definitely been there before, which obviously I haven't, certainly not in this lifetime. It rather unsettled me, actually. It was the most unusual experience, such a strong feeling of deja vu just in this one room. And there was several rooms all similar, and it was only in the one room that I had that deja vu feeling. Can't explain it. Weird. Anyway, looking forward to another great day's ride today, and very much looking forward to getting to Lhasa. Another day, another dreary Tibetan filling station. They're all much of a muchness of these. I think that most of them are state-owned and state-run, if not all of them.早上好。
好，早上好。他nog steeds het robot.
Oh,
Oh, nee.
Lhasa ne ya, bak camda için, çamalan için, devam hadi.
Mm. 他就让录着啊，录现在吧。血过。
自由枪加注，请确认。开始加油。
I have noticed that the friendliness of the attendants in the filling stations seems to vary massively. Some of them are very standoffish. Maybe they're just a bit wary of foreigners. But some of them are very friendly, but nobody speaks any English at all. Not come across anybody who can speak any English. Looks to me like it's going to stay fairly cloudy, overcast, dull today, but not too cold, so we're fine. Whilst we're riding down here, I'll just continue talking about various tips and things. And yeah, travel insurance is something else that is very important, because you've got to realise that your standard holiday travel insurance will not cover you for some things that are important on a trip like this. So it is very important that you have travel insurance that covers you for travelling to altitudes above 5,000 metres. Most policies exclude that, so you've got to get a specialist policy that will cover you for that. Another thing that is important on a trip like this is that you are covered on your insurance for helicopter evacuation. If you start suffering from severe altitude sickness, or God forbid you have some kind of road accident up here, you will need to be evacuated by helicopter. It's fairly remote. And again, a lot of insurance policies wouldn't cover you for that. So again, you need to look at a sort of more specialist one. A third aspect of the insurance, which is very important, is, and it's very obvious, but some people miss this, is you must have cover for motorcycle riding and motorcycle rental. A lot of travel policies only cover you for small capacity motorcycles. So if you're going to be riding a larger capacity motorcycle, then you need to have adequate insurance. I've got a policy that covers all of those. I just took out a special policy, and to be honest, it wasn't really that much more expensive than a standard travel package. I actually have a 12-month policy run because I do so much of this kind of travel. Just look at this great big flyover here. As we're getting closer to Lhasa, there's more and more big roads, what you'd even call motorways, and new railway lines with these huge structures being built. I was talking with Uday this morning, and he said that when he and Takeshi last came over here, which was only about 5 years ago, none of this was here. The Chinese government are building infrastructure like mad here. And also we've gone past a few towns which again Uday swears were not here last time he came. An interesting thing also is that a lot of the roads which were previously dirt roads, they're all tarmacked over now. We have been riding on a few dirt roads, but in actual fact we've got to go out of our way to find dirt roads to ride on because all of the main routes are now tarmacked. Oh, but this is beautiful, isn't it? The day's really brightened up now, and we are riding through some absolutely beautiful countryside here. Hello, there's something happened here. Well, despite the at times reckless driving, this is the first road traffic accident we've seen. Looks to me like this truck there's like a rain ditch at the side of the road. The truck's got its wheels stuck down it. We are now in Lhasa. I'm surprised how big the city is, but I can see the Patala Palace up ahead. Wow, there it is, the Patala Palace. I'm actually here. Amazing. This is a magical moment for me. I've got to whip my camera off quick, see if I can get a selfie in front of the Patala Palace. Right, we're off to the hotel. Well, mustn't get left behind. We'll start by these other bikes because I don't know where the hotel is. I'm following Uday. He does know how to get there, so I mustn't lose him. This is a new kind of traffic system to me. There's this kind of fenced off little bit at the side of the road that seems to be just for scooters. Don't know if we should be going down it this way, but here we are. Wow, here we are. So we've got a couple of days off the bike now to do some sightseeing around Lhasa. I've got my bucket list of places I want to go. I'm very excited about this.